Hello everyone and welcome back to part 27 of the Cylon Basestar. Today we're going to do final assembly and get the top and the bottom glued on, so should be pretty interesting. Can finally get to see it put it all together and get ready to put it on the stand, so let's go take a look.
Okay, welcome back. We're going to actually glue these all together and get this thing done. Still have stuff to do in the base. But the rod's going to be good. I think I got a wire that's going to give me long enough to get in here, hopefully. If not, we'll see. I'll have to check that out before we glue the bottom. But I think we're going to do the top first here. This is the top. We got the top piece here. So I think that's what we're going to do. Things I did, all the fibers are in. You won't be able to see them, but they're little pricks of fiber sticking out of these areas here, both sides. That came out good. I got my homemade greeblies on the inside to kind of disguise that seam and give a little more detail to the flat areas in here. It's definitely not Canon, but at least there's something going on there. Now I think I might airbrush a little dark gray, like maybe German gray in there to kind of make it dirty, but it definitely now looks like something's going on in there and looks much better. Painted the blue spots on both sections of the rim here. Just kind of did my own thing on the box. They had this one done, that one done, that one done. And I added this last one over here, which is going to be hard to see if I can get it in the light and find a way to hold this thing. But yeah, there we go. But I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. But yeah, I got those blue spots done. It's going to be hard because the light's just not going to get in there. So that's where we're at. So we can finally glue this thing together and clamp her. I think what I'm going to do is run a bead of cement, and then some of these areas here, probably these areas here, I'm going to hit them with super glue that'll help hold it together while the rest sets up. I kind of like to do that. Act as a chemical clamp, I guess. But we'll definitely, I got new clamps when I was at Wonderfest, some bigger ones, big ones like this, and then some more of these nice small ones from a gentleman who was nice enough to give me a bag when I stopped at the Wonderfest store. They didn't have any bags for my, got 2 Wonderfest beer mugs and an apron and some stuff, and they didn't have a bag, so I was carrying that, and I was just stopped over their booth, and they were kind enough to say, hey, you need a bag for that stuff? I'm like, yeah, thank you. And I was already interested in stuff there, so I'm like, now I'm definitely going to buy from you, and it was good prices, and yeah, I needed more clamps, so when you pick up model kits, it's always nice to pick up some tools while you're there at Wonderfest. What else did I get there? Something like these little, they're really sculpting tools, but they've been working really good. This thing here worked really good to get stuff down in there, but I figure it would work good for puttying and filling holes. It's kind of like almost like a dental hook, but then it has like a flat scoop on the ends. So that was a cool tool to pick up. That was dirt cheap. And then this thing kind of looks like a warrior's knife if you had like a 1/6 figure or something. But this would, I figure, would be good for puttying and stuff, seams, instead of using my knife, this thing here. I figure I might as well get some tools for that. That was cool. Oh, and what else did I pick up from them? I wish I could think the name of the shop right off the top of my head. I can't. And they had a really nice set of small drill bits. It goes from 0.3 millimeters to 1 millimeter. Down to this tiny, and then it goes up in like fifths. And it's 0.35, 0.4, 0.45, and all the way up to 1 millimeter. So that I thought was pretty cool. These drill bits are from HSS. So that was nice. And I think, besides clamps, I can't remember what else I picked up. There was something else, but it was definitely cool. Definitely get some tools while you see them. But, okay, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. I already sanded these edges so I can get down to the actual plastic, but it's a silverish gray plastic, so it's hard to tell. But that way the model cement will actually melt and bond really good. Not sure where the other touch points are on this ship besides these pegs going into these holes. Those will use model cement. I think I can just get away with running a bead across here, and then, you know, I think I can hit these flat spots and then run a bead around them and hit those with super glue, so that I can immediately set it down and then clamp those. Almost should do super glue in these. Sometimes I wonder if I should do these and then just press it tight and then clamp the rest of these. I'm not sure, because this is definitely something you want it so it pushes the whole dome, and might actually even push them in shape. The top part, this is pretty flat. If you press, the bottom one has a warp in it. This one here definitely has a warp. If you sit it on something flat, you see this side's up. You know, now it seems like the lower sections are okay. Like this is up because it's on pegs, because of these pegs, but it's pretty up pretty evenly. It might be a little high there, and that might have a little bit of a warp too. So getting them clamped really good and stuff, and getting these down tight, getting that down in there tight, will kind of hopefully help get it back into some type of shape. It's not bad once it's clamped together. It kind of pulls stuff together. So I think that's the plan of attack. If I can get some super glue in those spots. I'm going to do a dry fit here to see what actually... Alright, I put a T here so I know it's the top facing up. But this is the bottom. I also colored that dot purple. Let me know, because then on this side I did the same thing. But yeah, okay. So the way it does help you, there's an arrow drawn, molded into the plastic on the inside. There's an arrow there. I put a LED strip over it, but there I drew a red arrow with a Sharpie. So that's, you want to line those because that lines up with that peg. So we'll do a dry fit, and I want to see how tight these are, if the super glue is even going to have anything to bond to. Probably not much. So I'm going to have to put a pretty good puddle in there. But I'm hoping that'll... because these are up a little bit. These are kind of flat, like really flat, like even the edges. But here they're a little raised. Like there's a little bit of a pocket in these, where these are kind of pretty much flat. So that might cause a problem, because the super glue is just going to hang out in the dead space. I'm sure I throw the super glue in there and just squish it quick. Because these are going to get all puttied up because they're got to get filed. And then the only thing that has to cure is this outer edge. It's almost what I'm wondering if I should do. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use these 3 points. Although that's the major holding. And I really don't want to rely on all my holding to be super glue that will snap. Oh, I do need to sand these too. Let's do that now. I have smaller. Yeah, a smaller piece. I gotta be careful. I have wires going around. You want that good plastic to plastic bond. I should just start taping these off. And then as far as these holes, you can actually just stick a drill bit down there that fits and it cleans them up. That's what I did with that. But I forgot to clean these. What do I want to do? I'm thinking I'd rather have the model cement here that really, once it cures, it really holds. And just, like I said, just do these outer edges. So, definitely going to use the Revell that's here to hit these edges, because it's going to make it nice and easy. And we'll use our regular Tamiya cement for these pegs and to get a pretty good wash in here. And then just dab these with some super glue. I wonder if I should use the thick for a good bond. It's a little thicker. I think I will, because there's no because the medium I use a lot. The thin I don't use that much because it's a dangerous glue. Thin super glue is. It can go everywhere. Alright, that's the last thing we'll do, because that's going to want to sit up first. So, I think we got to work fast and make sure we got everything going. Arrows facing this way. And this is going this, so I can just go plop. Oh, before we even start gluing, that would be stupid. We got to solder these wires on. And I already have the iron heating up. So, I need some shrink tube to get on here. Get some shrink tube. We can get it right with the red here. Let's take one and cut it in half. Go. Now this is always a fun part, to get these to reach. And then we'll have to realign. I almost wanted to put this on a connector. Oh, I didn't think about doing it like that. I should put those on connectors. I have those little connectors where you can plug them in. But once this is done, it's done. So there we go. Already tinned those wires. And then we'll just twist them. There we go. Positive, positive. These negatives are a little shorter. Alright, enough solder on that one though. There we go. There you go, and you just bend one over. And slide your shrink tube over top. Give a tug, make sure they're good. Yourself a lighter. Sometimes the soldering iron will work too, but just a quick pass with a lighter works really well too. And there you have it. Probably should do, which would be in good practice. I never did have to light block those, which is good. Probably in good practice it would be good to do a light test. Before we close up. And there we go. Everything's going good. Oh, just the way that sat and made it look yellow. Everything's working. Our purple violet lights on the top of the dish, which look blue in the camera, are working. So we're good to close it up. And the blues are working down there in the bays. Nice. Okay. We can definitely call it safe. Now we can. I think this is going to take the longest, so I'm wondering if I should do it last. But and will that needle stay in there? Yay, it did. I love this applicator. Not even really pressing, just holding the bottle upside down and it's flowing out just nice. We got a lot of puttying to go on around these areas because they are not square to each other. Not whatsoever. Alright, where did I start? Right here. Now it's getting harder because it was easier to do that edge like that because I had a place to rest my hand on, so I could just flow like a paintbrush. I want to make sure I get a good amount on there. Alright, that's that. Oh, come on. And this one will wipe around each one of these pegs. Close that so we don't spill. Super glue. I'm gonna do dab each one of these spots and hopefully it grabs something. If not, no worries, but we gotta keep moving because it is definitely starting to set up over here. Alright, arrows pointing to me. There's the front arrow that way. Yep, here we go. And the nice thing is it's always before going down pretty easily, so there it goes. Bada boom, bada boom. Let's go with the stronger ones here. We'll do it like a tire, we'll do opposite sides. Where that super glue sets up. Come on. We'll be doing the flippity flip. There we go. And I can start going around with these little ones. The problem with domes is everything wants to slide off them. that all the big ones I got? 1, 2, I guess I only did get 4. Let's see if we can get one of these guys. Yeah. Especially right there, because that's where one of those pegs are, I know for sure. And then back here is where the other 2 are. One there and one here. So that'd be probably a good idea to really get some there. So these have some stickiness on them because I had tape on. Yeah. Hopefully it ain't squishing and bulging out, and then maybe I can come in. I don't think those are going to do much. It's pretty tight. Let me look. Alright, let's get some of these glues closed. Let's look at all the seams. The better the seams, the less the puttying. Be careful of the fiber optic stubs. Oh, that looks great. All the way around looks great. Yeah, success. Beautiful. But we're gonna, not so much do I have to do anything with these edges because they're just kind of rugged and rough anyway. I mean, I guess I could get in here. A little bit of rough, but that's okay. I guess I could get in here and clean up some of the seams, but those little points are don't line up. So there's the bottom half has one here and top half has one here, so it's all chopped up like that, which works. It makes it look good and it works. So I'm not too worried about any of that, it being in different shapes and levels and all that kind of stuff. It kind of, do that. It's kind of doing its thing. But these here is where I want them to be nice and square. And like this one, the top dome is further out than this bottom one, and it's also fatter, and yeah, so we gotta fix all that. But there she is, top is glued on, so we'll let that sit, and once it's dry, we'll do the bottom half. But what we'll do first is we'll connect this longer wire to this wire, and then do a dry fit and see how long that wire comes down. Will it fit through the whole rod? And then if so, we'll start. We'll leave that go, bring the wire out through here, and glue this part down. Nice thing is we don't have to solder or anything to this because there's no lights on the bottom. Yeah, and then we'll glue that down, and she's pretty much almost done. Then we'll do. I think I'll do that mist with the testers. What is this? The light aircraft, flat light aircraft gray, which I used on the Falcon. I want to do one more mist to bring down the contrast of all the fancy work we did on top. It gives it that kind of chippy, fine, faded look to it. Just a quick, you just hold it up pretty high and just blast it down and let it do that. And I don't want to cover. I just want to give it a little mist to kind of make it all blend together and get rid of the contrast, especially the dark gray really contrasts. The blue I thinned out so much and only did one coat that you can almost see the gray from underneath coming through, so that worked to my advantage. Same thing with the white. But we'll do that. I know I gotta, and on both halves, I wanted to wait to get the whole ship together, and I also want to wait to do that to when I putty, file and putty and repaint, touch up these whatever you call these trench areas. And I'll wait to do that. Once we do that, we can do a wash, and then I'll go in and detail some areas, make some of these grills a little darker with the airbrush, and highlight some areas with the airbrush. And I don't want to make it too dirty, but I don't want to look new. You know, kind of this. I kind of look at it like the Star Destroyer. They're not really, or you know, the Death Stars. They're not really dirty. You know, they don't go in like this. Doesn't go in the atmosphere, so any dirt would be any, you know, space dust, or you know, if it got in a battle, you might have hits and explosions of dirt. But you know, like a lot of the Star Destroyers and Star Wars, and you never really saw them that damaged. You know, they either got destroyed, or you know, they looked fairly clean-ish. You know, worn and used, and but not, you know, not rust and stuff like an X-wing or the Falcon. I like to add the dirt and the grime and the rust because they do go into the atmospheres and at ports on planets and have dealt with rain and water and moisture. But these space stations, you know, once they're built and they're built in space, they're not really getting much except for the normal debris that might be in a system, you know, so as they move. So that's my thoughts on that. But I do want to dirty up some of these grills and make it look like dirty exhaust or intake or whatever. I don't know if one's an intake or an exhaust or what they are, but let's dirty them up. So yeah, when we come back, we'll start probably working on the base. I might, you know, I don't know if I'm going to film doing the bottom. It's going to be the exact same thing. So, excuse me. The only real difference is, you know, we're going to have the rod coming out of the bottom, the rod here, and the wire coming out. But, you know, other than that, so, and then we'll start working on the base. This is the big one here that will hold it. It's probably a little bigger than it needs to be, but this is just one. I mean, you get them for $3 at Hobby Lobbies, and I did get smaller ones, but I used them on other kits. But for $3, you know, it's not the highest grade wood, but it's a painting wood. You definitely want to paint it unless you like the knots, and sometimes that works for something. Or you can do a whole like diorama on top here, you know, like a whole dirt, snow, or whatever, depending on what you have. And they already router, you know, a nice fancy edge on here, so they're, you know, they're not bad. You know, now you're still the center hole. This wire right here. Yeah, I'll just, you know, I can make it tight enough that it threads down, but then I'll put one of these inexpensive brass nuts down underneath, and then I use these nicer ones that are knurled for your finger where you can see them. So I'm gonna have this one here, and that will go like that, so you see that ring. So you have a tightening thing in case it's, you know, it spins. You always have that hand tightening part. I probably will do it down there too, but I might just thread that right to the thing. And then, you know, when it comes up in here, I'll put another one of these brass suckers right there. But I might not have to do that because she's been pretty well threading into this plastic. I actually tapped that with my taps. Ran it really slow so it didn't get too taut, and it tapped that plastic really nice. So I might even have to. It's pretty much a threaded plastic. And this thing don't weigh that much. So, but I'm rambling, so until next time, I hope you enjoyed this quick, you know, little glue thing. She's coming along. Get this stand done and some weathering, and she will call it a day. She's done. Move to the next project. So thanks for watching. Well, welcome back. Here's the base so far. It's coming along good. I did a black spray, just black, and then I went with, misted it with, I forget what this is called, a burnt umber, kind of a burnished amber. It's got a little bit of a silver flake in it too. These metallic paints from Rust-Oleum. So I did that. I hit some spots. It's kind of covered. It's kind of buried. then I just hit it with a plain silver, just spraying real far up and just splattered it down on it. And then I took some of my iridescent colors that I got from a taxidermy guy that I used for the refit for the Aztecing to give that iridescent color. So I got gold, red, blue, and green. Yeah, right. Gold, red, blue, and green. Yeah. And these are great. They're for them making fish. You know, taxidermy's doing the colors like a rainbow trout has that, you know, the rainbow colors on their belly, but it's only seen, you know, it only shows like in certain angles. So this stuff works great. It's a lacquer base, so I kind of splashed some of that on there. I just stuck a brush in there and just gave it a little, you know, flocking, which is something they did at ILM a lot, where you just take the brush and you get rid of the excess on paper towel and you just block it. They did that a lot on the Falcon. If you look at close-up pictures of the actual Millennium Falcon, you'll see this yellowish brown kind of splatter all over the ship, and that's what they did.
Some people,
you don't want it drastic, but
and
you know,
you're like, how can I learn all of this stuff?
You don't want it drastic, but from afar, it just gives your eyes some detail. And hold on one second, the commercial is really loud.
Has these relationships with a ton of.
I like to have something on in the background when I'm building, but the commercials come on and they're really loud. I should pause it, but oh well. So that's where I'm at, and then on these edges, I did the blue that I did on the actual base. So I did that blue all the way around, and then I'm doing this upper one in the white, so it kind of mimics the these blue and white stripes here. You know, it kind of pulls some of the color from the actual star base onto the actual base itself. So I think that'll look cool when she's sitting on there. You know, trying to do stuff different with each base, and it's kind of nice to pull colors in from the other ship. So basically what I did, the blue is pretty much done. I might do another coat, and then it's all going to get a clear. But I got to do some more coats on the white because it's going over black from the overspray from the top. I did the top first and then cleared it. That way, you know, if I kind of oops, you know, I can actually just wipe it off with water. So, and in this band here, I'm not worried about overspill because I'm going to run I think I'm going to take a small brush and brush in a little bit of brass, like an antique brass color to go with the brass rod. And it'll blend that line between the two. So hopefully that'll work. But I'll probably clear that and then do that. And then give it another clear. But that's where I'm at. Already routed the hole and the notch for the wire to come out. It's going to be one of these. It's going to have, I'm not going to put switches on this. It's just going to be a basic, because a lot of these, I'm looking for my, you know, a home, and I want to build display cases and stuff, and I want to be able to hit one switch and turn them on. And I can still do that if I had a switch, but sometimes the switches take away. You got all these switches, and there's no real spot to put a switch here. I thought about just putting a jack, you know, just a jack there, but I think that'll be just fine. Because most of these ships, like I said, are going to be permanently plugged in. And that way when I go to the case, I can hit one switch and they all come on. Except for certain ones that have, like, you know, the refit, I'll have to turn the deflector dish light on, because that's off, and then it does the two different colors, the amber and the blue. But I digress here. So what I'm using, just Anita's craft acrylic, and I'm going to just keep going doing some coats, and go ahead and do that silver, or the antique brass there, and it should be good. So I just wanted to give you an update on where I'm at on that, and I'll give you a good look at it when it's done. So see you soon.